Alright, so if you saw my Tyvar Gets Bloodied video, when I posted yesterday? Probably yesterday. I had it on a timer, I forget. I talked about how well he did in actual games, and then I went through and pulled out 7 cards. Hey, it's a first hand, and half of this go back because there's no land. Son of a bitch. Not a single fucking land. Anyway, so these are 7 cards I thought I might pull out in favor of things that are more exciting, more martial. Push my game plan, protect me better. Just so to recap, Taunting Elf. If I give all my elves plus 12 and trample, because I've triggered Azuri 4 times, it doesn't really matter if I have Wind Decoy that everybody goes after. This is going to leave a mark. And if all the elves have Forest Walk, and I have Yavimaya Cradle of Growth in play, he doesn't matter either, because they can't block him anyway. He's got fucking Forest Walk. So, thinking about taking that out, although it is a beautiful foil by Scott Fisher. Heartwooden. Thought about taking this out. Okay, it's a mana elf that I could sacrifice for a card. 1 in the green for a 1/1. If I can put something in that only cost 1, it's probably better to have all the mana elves only cost 1. So, thinking about that. Green Sun Zenith. I should probably leave that. I don't want to have too many search cards. Search cards are the ones that kind of push it up in the power level, make it a different bracket. But this, I mean, 5 mana, I can go get my Beast Whisper and start drawing cards for casting creatures. And then, of course, it gets shuffled back in, so I can find it, maybe, in Shada, and cast it again. So I'm not sure about this one, but it's an option. Urborg Justice. Okay, in Saskia, this worked pretty good. In Tyvar, it kind of teases me. Okay, it plays with my head. It costs double black. Target opponent chooses and varies the number of creatures he or she controls equal to the number of creatures that died on your side so far this turn. Which is, I always say I love that wording, it's just funny. It's not really good for this deck because it can get blanked so easily. If I've got Hallowed Gemstone out and I need green and I keep saying green and all the lands produce green, I can't cast this unless I have some of the few elves or Tyvar Kell, the Planeswalker that lets my elves tap for black, in play. So there was a game where this isn't I couldn't cast it. I had said green because I needed the green from Hallowed Gemstone, and even if I could cast it, not enough of my creatures are dying to really make it matter that much anyway. I had fewer creatures than my opponents. If I cast this, I want to have on par or more creatures than my opponents, so when those creatures die, I can make sure my opponents sacrifice their side too. So this is going to come out. I should probably put it in Saskia, because Saskia, she doesn't have Hallowed Gemstone, limiting her mana production. And with Goblin Bombardment, I can sack like 10 creatures and then bang, Urborg Justice. You have to sack 10 creatures too. I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm not. So that should probably go in Saskia. Maelstrom Pulse. Not really sure if I need this. Destroy target non-land permanent and everything else with the same name as that permanent. Okay, it does destroy something, but if I go for a token, I have to make sure my opponent doesn't have any way to sacrifice that token. Otherwise, he'll sacrifice it and this will fizzle, and the rest of the tokens I wanted to kill will stay. So I'm not sure about that, but it's in the maybe it'll come out pile. Kesa. Okay, I love the card. I've always loved it since Alliances. The art is beautiful. Rebecca Gay. It's a very evocative creature. She's now an elf. Elf Druid specifically. So 3 green green for... She will be at 3/4 when she comes into play because she busts herself. All green creatures you control get +1/+1, including her. So for 5 mana, she's a 3/4 that gives all my green creatures +1/+1. With as many lords, elf lords I have in the deck, it's kind of superfluous, and it's not really worth the mana cost. Maybe in another deck where they're not all elves, or there's some tribe that doesn't have a bunch of lords, it would be more interesting. So I'm going to take her out and exsanguinate. I just don't really want to do it. Black X. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So, as I saw in Game 3, if I'd drawn this, I could have cast it and exsanguinated for like 20. If I dumped all my mana from all the mana producing elves, I had Tyvar Kell in play, so all the elves can tap for something. And then I had Corrin Ranger, so I can untap, say, the Elf-Shards Druid and get a shitload. So I could have exsanguinated for about 20. Killed both of my opponents right on the spot. But I don't want to do that, because it feels kind of... It just feels dirty in this kind of deck, because I want to smash people in the head. So that's going to come out. Now, stay. Here are the cards that I thought about putting in. So I said I'm pretty much going to take out Case and put in Asceticism. They both have the same mana cost. And this protects my creatures. So it doesn't buff them, but I've got the lords, as I said. But it does give them hexproof. And I can regenerate them. So for the mana cost, to protect my team, Asceticism is going to be better than Kesa. Genesis Wave. Like I said, I can make a shitload of mana if things work out. Even if they work out halfway decent, I can make a lot of mana. So, on turn 4, 6, somewhere around there, I can easily Genesis Wave 4, 6. Which is significant, because you reveal the top X cards in your library. Any permanents with that CMC or less get dumped on the battlefield. So, my mana curve tops out at 7 for Chroma's Memorial. So if I Genesis Wave for 7, which will cost me 10 mana, there are no permanents I cannot put into play in this deck. None. Because like I said, the Chroma's Memorial tops out. Which means I don't need to spend as much. And of course, the deeper I dig, the more permanents I get into play. But I don't. It kind of feels bad when you Genesis Wave for, say, 6, and you pop up something that costs 7 or 8, and you're like, man, I could really use that. I didn't know it was that high up in the deck. Well, if I do it for 7, whatever I find, I can throw into play. I used to love this card. Oh, I used to love it so much back when I was on Whidbey Island and playing there. Every green deck had one, just because I love the chaos. But then I became more of a careful, controlled player. So I didn't use it. I bought a foil one for the memories about 8 years ago. I've had this for 8 or 10 years, this foil copy, for the memories of every time I would cast it. And sometimes it's made a deck only to come out with the first round of cuts. Usually it doesn't make it in. In this deck, I think it'll be okay. I don't have that many non-creature permanents to worry about. I mean, I am going to stick in Asceticism, so that'll get destroyed pretty goddamn quickly if it's in play. But the thing is, it's a question of what your opponents are going to do. So you destroy your target non-creature permanent. Are they going to copy it and send it back to you, or send it to somebody else? So how far is the chain going to go? And it's always kind of fun watching that. Now, I've seen where I cast Chain of Acid, and next thing you know, nobody has any lands, artifacts, or enchantments. I've also cast it, and I've blown up one thing, and the guy's like, yeah, I'm not sending it anywhere else. Man, that's no fun. So I'll probably put this in instead of Maelstrom Pulse just for fun. Hurricane. This is going to replace Exsanguinate. So Exsanguinate feels dirty. Hurricane, it can be dirty, but it hurts me equally, and it takes care of the flyers. The deck has a problem dealing with flying creatures. Seriously does. It's to the point where I'm thinking of putting a second monster in the woods in the deck, a Soaklash Spider. I looked it up, and, well, I looked at the copy I have to remind myself exactly what it is and does and how it works. Soaklash Spider costs 5. 3 green for a 4/7. No. The power I forget. The toughness is definitely 7. Spider. And you just spend, and again I forget double green. I should have pulled it out so I could look at it while I'm talking about it and not try to remember. Anyway, you spend some green and X, and all flying creatures take X points of damage. So if I keep having problems with flying creatures, if I keep having problem finding either the Spider Silk armor or my creatures with reach, then to accompany the Defiler of Vigor, I'll put Soaklash Spider in the deck to deal with flyers. I'm going to see if Hurricane is what I need. Typically, if I can wipe the board of the flyers at a time, it will take my opponent's time to recover their air force. So by that time, I should be able to get my ground forces working and smash them. But it also deals damage to each player. So let's say a Hurricane for 10. That should kill pretty much every flyer and take a big bite out of everybody's life total. Then again, I do have Well-Wisher and Essence Warden in the deck, so if I'm at 50 and everybody else is at 30-something, losing 10 from 50 isn't so bad. Losing 10 from 30-something, it stings a little bit, so that's going in. Tower Defense, again, because I'm having, I saw that I had problems with flyers. Also, this makes my creatures bigger, so if the board wipe is such that it does damage to all the creatures, I can make them tougher to survive the board wipe. Starstorm, Chain Reaction, it's not going to do anything against Blasphemous really, unless my creatures have a lot of counters on them, because Blasphemous is 13 points of fucking damage. So I'm thinking about this. I haven't fully decided. I'm thinking about it. Deathrite Shaman, so I think he'll be better than the Heart Warden. Black-green, so it doesn't matter what land if I pull the swamp, turn 1, and I need to play it, I can still cast him. He only gives me mana if there's a land in a graveyard to exile. But everybody plays some kind of fetch land. Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage, the fetch lands, Bad River, the Mirage fetch lands. So everybody plays that sort of thing. Plus, sometimes people just discard lands because they have to discard for some reason. So he's not as reliable as Heart Warden. They can always tap for green, but he can tap for black. Heart Warden cannot unless Tyvar Kell is in play. Plus, he comes with graveyard control, so I think he'll be better. So he's probably going in. Sky Shard Ranger, if I start drawing cards, I will be getting lands. So if I put her in play, then, of course, sorcery speed, so she has to be ready to go. No summoning sickness. I can start putting more lands down per turn. I don't want to run exploration. I'd rather run a creature that can do it, because she can also get bigger and smash people. So she's one possibility. Attempt with discovery. The deck has no land search except like Wood Elves. Hang on a second. Just taking a drink of my coffee. Nam. So the reason I didn't put this in there is I I didn't start with that many lands I want to search for. But now, with Yavimaya Cradle Growth, which I do want to find if I get the Elvish Champion out, I'm going to put an Urborg in the deck. Not a Cabal Coffers, just Urborg Tomb of Jawgmoth, because of the problems I'm having getting the black. Because there's only a few elves that give me black. And with Hall of Gemstone, of course, I've already illustrated those problems. I can find it with Tempt with Discovery. Also, when Tyvar gets his Yavimaya Hollow and Vora Stronghold, that gives me more that I can find. And as long as I don't have a Cradle, as long as I don't have Gaia's Cradle, the lads are going to be more likely, or Coffers, the lads are going to be more likely to go for land, because they know I'm not going to get Cradle, I'm not going to get Coffers, and if my graveyard is empty at the time I cast it, they're not really going to care about Volra Stronghold until it matters. Yavimaya Hollow, they might care about, might not, depending on who's playing. Well, yeah, 3 Tree City. That one they might care about, but we'll see. So I'm thinking about putting that in. In Keeper's Talent, I got this from Yuji. I got this from Yuji in a trade where the we didn't look anything up, so the card valuations are probably questionable, but both of us were pretty happy with what we got. So I got this. Beginning combat on my turn, one of my creatures gets a +1/+1 counter. 1 green, my permanents with counters have ward 1. Okay, well, if I'm putting counters on my creatures, giving them ward 1 is more protection, so that's probably a good idea. 4, level 3, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on the permanent player instead. And I looked it up. Doubling Season, if you have a Planeswalker and you pay the loyalty activation, it's a cost. You're paying a cost. Adding a counter or removing a counter or counters, depending on the Planeswalker, to activate the ability is paying a cost. So Doubling Season will not give you more counters on it. Now, when the Planeswalker first comes into play, Doubling Season will counter the loyalty counters when it comes into play. But from the activations, no. This, however, will. So this, whenever I activate a Planeswalker loyalty ability, it doubles it. So that's pretty damn good. I only have 2 Planeswalkers in the deck so far. I thought about putting in the Nissa that can find permanents, or bring permanents from my graveyard to my hand. That's probably the next iteration of things I'll look at. But this makes that better. Makes Tyvar Kell definitely better. Same with Vivian Reed. So that is probably going in. So I have 7 possible cuts, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 possible inclusions. So either I need to take 2 out for now. Okay, fine. Lay on the desk, you stupid card. Take 2 out. Or I need to take out more from the deck. Wait, there's another card. Okay, this is not working. I'll lay them flat. There. So, Saskia. Let's look at her for a minute. The deck has no board wipes. Tyvar the Belligerent has no board wipes, which I realize is a problem. The board wipe I think I should put in is Pernicious Deed. I only have 3 copies. They're all in decks. One of them is in Saskia. So I thought I would give Saskia Austere Command instead. So of course this sits on the table. It's a Rattlesnake. Spend X, tap it, destroy each artifact, creature, enchantment with CMC X or less. This I have to cast at sorcery speed. So 4 white, choose 2. Either all artifacts, all enchantments, big creatures, small creatures. Some things will die. So I'm not... Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe I should go for another board wipe for Tyvar. The other thing I want to do for Saskia, since I'm on it, I'm going to take him out and put this in, because this actually is what the deck wants to do. False Prophet is just a detour. So if I Pernicious Deed, you lose everything. Austere Command is more precise. Of course, you're choosing 2 classes of things, but I think it should be better, because if I have a bunch of enchantments, I don't want to lose them. My opponents don't have that many enchantments. Then, if I deed, they all go away. I lose everything. Poof, gone. Sucks to be me. Try again tomorrow. But if I put in Austere Command, I need a sleeve. Do I have any sleeves over here? Yeah, here we go. Here's one. So, I think Austere Command is going to be better for Saskia. Now, with Tyvar, I won't have quite that many enchantments, quite that many artifacts, and if I have Pernicious Deed, and I activate it, and I've got enough to cast, say, what the hell is that? It costs 4 and a black. It's an instant. You put all creatures that died into play under your control. What the fuck is it called? Son of a bitch, I hate it when this happens. So hang on, let me just look it up on Mock Shield right quick to see what the hell it's called. Because I've got it in the deck. It's something like Thrilling Encore. Okay, Thrilling Encore. Thrilling Encore is an instant 4 and a black. Put onto the battlefield under control all creature cards and all graveyards that were put in the battlefield this turn. So if I have the mana, if I deed for, say, 3, it's going to kill most of my army because all the elves are small. It's also going to kill some of my opponent's stuff. So if I can Thrilling Encore, then I recover my board, wipe my opponent's board, and I can keep going. So I know I'm jumping around. I know I'm jumping around a lot. So let's just take a quick look at these. False Prophet. And this is, of course, talking about Saskia. Is he damaged? I don't think so. 2 white for a 2/2 cleric. When he dies, exile all creatures. Of course, he won't exile himself because he's already dead. So when he croaks, everybody else gets poof, gone. I don't really want to do that. I put it in just because I needed to put something in, some kind of rattlesnake, some kind of board wipe. I've had this for a long time because I like the art. I like the way it looks in the foil. It's pretty cool, but I don't want to do that. I do want to do this. 2 in a red for a 2/3 golem. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, he does 1 damage to each opponent, all of them. Bang! Boom, 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 bitches. Which is what the deck is doing. So now I have Perforos, Impact Tremors, War Leader's Call, and Molten Gatekeeper. So I've got 4. When creatures come into play, everybody else that isn't me suffers. Which is the way I built the deck, which is the way it's going to win. It can win through combat damage, but that's secondary. That's just a possibility. So doing that now means I have 10 cards that I can put into Tyvar. So how do I want to do this? Well, let's do the easy ones. Let's do the definite. So Exsanguinate comes out. Hurricane goes in. 1 for 1. Kesa comes out. Asceticism goes in. That's 1 for 1. Let's take out... No, I am kind of unsure about taking him out. Because, you know, if I need to make an attack, then he can make sure my team gets through. But at the point I do that, it should be working. Okay, so let's try. We'll take him out for Tyvar Shaman. So I'm losing a decoy, but I'm gaining graveyard control. And let's see, what else? So if I take out Maelstrom Pulse, I can put in the much funnier Chain of Acid. I think that's going to be hilarious. My opponents probably won't think so, but that's their problem, not mine. Heart Warden, let's take him out. I love the art. Oh man, I like that card. It's not like he's going anywhere. We'll put in Sky Shroud Ranger because she will let me put more lands into play. So he gives me 1 green each turn. She will give me an extra land once in a while. And if I start drawing more cards, she will probably give me an extra land every other turn at a minimum. Sometimes every turn for a few, because if I draw 3 cards, let's say I've got Beast Whisperer and what the hell is the one? Leaf Crown Visionary. So I play a creature, I pay the extra green for Leaf Crown Visionary, I draw 2 cards. Highly likely one of those being a land. And if I play another creature, pay another green for the Visionary, and I draw 2 more cards. So if I've drawn 4 cards, for sure, at some point, one of them will be a land, and then I can play the extra land through her. Urborg Justice will take that out for this board wipe. I think that's going to be more effective. So now we're left with these. Innkeeper's Talent. Okay, so Green Sun Zenith, I'm really not sure about taking out. I'm really not. Unless I replace the Genesis Wave, which is not as precise, but I do get more. And I definitely want the Innkeeper's Talent. So now I'm not really sure about what to do. Let me take a minute. I'm going to take a pause, think about this for just a minute. Alright, so I spent a few minutes thinking about it. And, okay, so right now, with these changes, I'm at 40 creatures, including Tyvar himself. So 40% of the deck is creatures, which is where I want it to be, because if I don't have enough creatures, when I cast creature spells and encounter when you cast a creature comes to play, draw a card, one of those effects, I want it to hit every time. That said, I could always put Guardian Project in the deck, but not sure I want to do that. The other thing, so I've got Beast Whisperer, I've got, who else draws me cards? Elvish Harbinger finds a creature and puts it on top of my library. Who else? Leaf Crown Visionary, if I spend 1 green, when I cast the elf spell, draw a card. Beast Whisper again is cast, not comes into play, so it's a cast trigger. Realm Walker lets me cast creatures from the top of my library, so he helps clear them out. So that's 2 draw effects from creatures. Then I've got Vanquisher's Banner. Whenever I cast creature spell of the chosen elf, I draw a card. So I've got 4 draw effects. Granted, Realm Walker isn't really a draw effect, but he can clear the top of my library if it's a creature. So, kind of the same. Excuse me, 3 draw effects in this deck. 3 hard draw effects. And that doesn't count Tyvar Kell's Ultimate if I can pull it off. So Tyvar Kell's Ultimate is whenever I cast no spell, it gains haste and I draw 2 cards. So there is that. What I'm looking at now is Viridian Zealot. So I've got Viridian Zealot, Reclamation Sage, Nomade Shepherd, and Crossing Grip. So I've got 4 ways of dealing with enchantments or artifacts. She's repeatable. So as long as she's in play and I've got 3 of the creatures, I can do it every turn. There's that Hall of Gemstone I kept talking about. 1 green for whenever everybody's upkeep, they choose a color. Everybody's lands produce that color until end of turn. Everybody's. So if your buddies are counterspelling your shit, just play Hall of Gemstone. And if you're obviously you'll be in green of some kind. Let's say you're playing green-black like I am. If you say green or black, all of their lands produce green or black, whatever you choose. So if they left 2 islands untapped, sorry, sucks being you. You're not casting counterspell with green or black. If I take out the Crossing Grip, I also have Vivian. I've got her because of the Broken Wings. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. So, if I take out... And I'm not sure this is a good idea. I'm really not. If some of you lads would come on and tell me what you think, let me know. So if I take out Crossing Grip, let's take a look at those now. Where's the Crossing Grip? So I still have 4 cards that deal with artifacts, enchantments. 2 of them are repetitive. Of course, Vivian Reed. I can only do it every other turn, and that's limited because she does -3 to do it, and then she only does +1. So she comes into play with 5 loyalty. So if I Broken Wings, she drops down to 2 loyalty. In the next turn, I have to do her +1, look at the top 4 cards in the library, choose a creature from among them, show it to everybody, put it in my hand. The rest go on the bottom. And so she'll be at 3 loyalty again. Meaning the turn after that, I can Broken Wings again, but that's all her loyalty, and she says, fuck you, you're not being nice to me. I don't like what you're doing. I'm not going to be part of it. Piss off. And you say, Vivian, I love you. I didn't mean it, baby. I didn't mean it. And she says, suck it. I'm going to the graveyard. So if I take out Crossing Grip, and it is a nice one. I must have another deck with Crossing Grip somewhere. I must. So I'll put that in whatever deck has Crossing Grip that I have. So if I put an Innkeeper's Talent, that actually helps Vivian Reed. It'll make her nicer. If I can get the level 3, so when I +1 her, so she comes into play. Let's say I don't have this yet. She comes to play 5 loyalty. I Broken Wings. And she goes down to 2 loyalty. And then let's say I get Innkeeper's Talent. And I dump all my mana into it, so I get to stage 3. Stage 3, 3rd stage. So when I +1 her, she would go from 2 to 4. So I've Broken Wings again, so it'll make it go faster. Make it so she'll stay with me longer. But taking out a split-second destroy artifact or enchantment card and only relying on creatures to do it, well, the deed will do it, that's for damn sure. It seems a bit ambitious. It seems it seems like it might be a bad idea, but let's try it. Let's try and see what happens. So those stay. Good cards. Alright, so let's recap. Urborg Justice comes out. Heartwarden comes out. Maelstrom Pulse comes out. Well, maybe I should do it 1 for 1, so we can see exactly what I'm doing and why. So we'll start with Kesa. So Kesa comes out for Asceticism. Same amount of cost. This will protect my team better. Heart Warden comes out, and I guess, yeah, Scratchshot Ranger. So she'll give me lands as I draw them. Maelstrom Pulse comes out in favor of Chain of Acid because it's just funny. It'll be funny. It'll be more humorous. Everybody get a kick out of it until they realize that nobody has any lands, and I've got a bunch of mana elves. Then they'll regret what they have done. Taunting Elf comes out. Deathrite Shaman goes in. Urborg Justice comes out. Pernicious Deed goes in. Exsanguinate comes out for Hurricane because it deals with flyers and it hurts my opponents. And where did I put the Corrosive Grip? Corrosive Grip comes out, and this isn't a 1-for-1. It's just something has to come out if I'm putting the talent in. So those are the changes I'm making to Tyvar. And you saw the changes that I made to Saskia. I really don't like getting my cards exiled. It's really something. Now in Modern, in Vintage, I don't care as much. But in Commander, it feels personal. When you exile my stuff in Commander, it feels like you're personally insulting me. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I don't like doing it to my opponents. And the only cards that I play that do it are, Swords to Plowshares and Lisa, Forgotten Archangel. I would rather she said destroy. I would rather she not exile my opponent's creatures. But she does. And I have to accept it because her other ability, when other creatures control die, you put them back in your hand at the end of the turn. Yeah, I can sign me up. But if it became too much problem, plus she has lifelink. If it became too much problem, well, I've got Athreos got a passage. I could put him into Analia instead of Lisa. Of course, I also have Lisa in Ikrashitiki Surakondo, so it is what it is. Anyway, those are the changes. This is now probably a 40-minute video. Let's get it posted.